Good morning. Today, I'm going to present my investigatory project, which is about the effectiveness of different brands of whitening toothpaste. So, first of all, why did the researcher decide to conduct the study? The simple reason why is because curiosity triggered the researcher to conduct the study. It all happened when she came across a blog of Jan Barron, who stated that toothpaste employs abrasive agents to remove surface stains from the tooth enamel, and some also contain various chemicals or enzymes intended to assist. These enzymes don't lighten teeth, they simply prevent further darkening. The difference of regular toothpaste to whitening toothpaste is that they contain harsher abrasives that can damage the enamel. This made the researcher eager to know if ever the assumptions of the blog were true or not. Thus, it resulted to the researcher wanting to test different brands of whitening toothpaste to test its effectiveness. The effectiveness will be determined by the speed of the whitening agent when it comes to whitening the shells. So next will be the statement of the problem. Generally, the researcher aims to determine the effectiveness of different brands of whitening toothpaste. Specifically, the researcher wants to know which brand of whitening toothpaste whitens the fastest in its first week. Second, which brand of whitening toothpaste whitens the slowest in its first week. Then lastly, to know which brand of whitening toothpaste made the shell the whitest at the end of 2 weeks. The researcher then believes the study will be deemed important in the development of the community. That being said, let's go to the significance of the study. So, who are the following groups of people who could benefit from the study? First are the consumers. The reason why is because they are the ones who are using the whitening toothpaste. Also, the consumers will gain more knowledge about the topic, thus, they are ones who will serve the people as the people who will judge the study so that they can come to a decision if they will still continue to use their choice of brand of whitening toothpaste or will they move to another brand. Next will be the manufacturers. This study can benefit them simply because they will know the signal that they need to improve the effectiveness of their brand of whitening toothpaste. For the brand of whitening toothpaste that will be considered the most effective, this can be used as their additional information. The last will be the students or the researchers, because they can use the study as their guide for their school projects and paperworks. Now, let the researcher present to you how did you conduct the experiment for determining the effectiveness of different brands of whitening toothpaste. So here, you can see the conceptual framework. Let's go to the input part, wherein you will see the materials needed for conducting the experiment. So the words written here are the most important or essential. Without it, you cannot conduct the experiment. First is the coffee stained shells, wherein you will stain the store-bought shells yourself. Next is the different brands of whitening toothpaste. The researcher shows 3 brands, which are Colgate, Pepsodent, and Happy. And last but not the least, the toothbrushes. The other materials needed can be usually found at home. These materials are as follows. First is the bowl, where the shells and the coffee mixture will be put. Next is the instant coffee of your choice. This will be the mixture used in sealing the shells. Next is boiling water that will help the coffee powder to dissolve. The last will be the bleach that will be used to put the shells to the same level of whiteness before staining it. And that will be all the materials that are needed. So now, let's go to the process or step-by-step procedure on how to conduct the experiment. The first step will be fill a bowl with the store-bought bleach that is enough to fully coat the shells. Put the 4 shells into the bowl and let it sit for 1 day. Then remove the shells after and let it dry naturally. Fill the bowl with coffee by mixing together boiling water and instant coffee. Then next, carefully slip the 4 shells into the bowl, making sure that the coffee does not splash out. Leave the shells in the coffee for 24 hours to stain them. Then remove them from the bowl and let them dry for another 24 hours. Then next, label each of the toothbrushes and each of the shells with the name of one of the toothpastes. Step 7. Brush each of the first 3 shells for 2 minutes using a different toothpaste and a toothbrush for each shell. Make sure to brush the entire surface, both side to side in a circular motion. At the end of the 2-minute period, rinse the shell. Next, rinse the last shell with water without brushing it at all. Step 9. Organize the shells so that they go from the darkest to the lightest. Repeat this brushing process exactly 14 times on each shell. Then lastly, analyze your data. Which toothpaste whitened the fastest and the slowest? Which toothpaste made the shell the whitest at the end of the 2 weeks? That will be all. So let's go back to the conceptual framework. On the output of the study, it is written the effectiveness of each brand of whitening toothpaste. And that will lead us to the conclusion and recommendations made by the researcher. So again, these are the questions that are needed to be answered in the study. First, which brand of whitening toothpaste whitens the fastest in its first week? Based on the results of the experiment and the articles the researcher had read, she would like to conclude that brand C, Pepsodent, whitens the fastest out of all the remaining brands of whitening toothpaste. Since the shell used in the experiment was only stained in coffee, it means that the type of discoloration will be extrinsic. The researcher mentioned before that whitening toothpaste will only be effective towards extrinsic stains, such as coffee stains. It will take no effect towards intrinsic and age-related stains. Also, it is stated that abrasives are used to remove the stains. The more abrasives within a product contain, the more whiter the teeth may appear if used. Then the reason that explains why brand C whitens the fastest is because it contains the most number of abrasives compared to the other brands. The next question, which brand of whitening toothpaste whitens the slowest in its first week? The answer to that will be, the reason why is actually the same as what the researcher has stated before. Brand B, Happy, is said to be the slowest when it comes to whitening the shells according to the data gathered. If brand C contains more abrasives, it is obvious that brand B contains fewer abrasives within the span of 1 week. Then last question, to know which brand of whitening toothpaste made the shells the whitest at the end of 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, the shell that whitens the most is shell B. The brand of whitening toothpaste used is brand C, Pepsodent. It has the same reason as to why it whitens the most out of all the other shells, and it is because brand C contains much more abrasives. For the recommendations, the researcher would like to recommend the following. First, to cover more in-depth information about the topic itself, because the researcher felt that the information given are not much but more than enough. Next, find an equipment that can measure the whiteness of an object, such as the chromometer, so that the study will not purely rely on observation of the researcher. Next, even though she had done the following, the researcher would like to tell the future researcher to pay attention to the lightings of your chosen setting. Different lightings can affect the whiteness of the shell if documented or taken pictures. Also, the researcher recommends the use of the DSLR camera so that the settings can be easily adjusted. In other words, with the use of this camera when taking pictures, the shells will all have the same setting. It will not affect the whiteness of the shells. Then lastly, when buying shells, make sure that the shells all have the same level of whiteness. If you don't know how to measure the level of whiteness, the researcher recommends to bleach the cells before staining them to achieve the same level of whiteness.